I was walking in the game room down here yesterday. I happened to look up and notice all these PlayStation boxes over here. I thought to myself, what's inside those boxes now? They haven't been open in years. I'd love to know what you actually got when you bought a new PlayStation. Let's pull these boxes down, make a big mess, and see what's inside them. Now, what's going to happen is I'll go to pull these things down, and I will inadvertently cause an avalanche, or something's jammed in there, or the lights are going to move. Good. Okay, good so far. These are a lot heavier than I thought they were. This is really heavy. What the heck's in this? Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna put these down and come back. Okay, and finally, this jumbo size thing over here. You know what we can do? We can dust while we're up here too. We can dust and make it look pretty. We can hide my poor electronics job. All right, well, I got all the boxes down. Let's start popping them open one by one. I don't know why, but the PlayStation 5 box is absolutely gigantic compared to any other Sony box. I mean, the closest you get to it in size, I guess, is the PS4 box, which is, yeah, I guess it's, but even then, it's half the width. So, not sure what Sony did as the years went on, but their boxes are all over the place. Let's, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess we should start in order. Looking back, the original PlayStation box, this is the one that I bought. It's a much later model PlayStation box. And you can tell, because a lot of the games that are advertised in the back are things that came on much later in the lifespan of the PlayStation, including Croc, Intelligent Cube, the original Armored Core. All the sports games are from '98, and it even has Final Fantasy VII advertised in the back. Now, this was the model before, I believe it was before, they came out with the DualShock controller. A lot of people now have boxes from PlayStation 1 originals, and they'll say like DualShock. It won't have this like cool coloring or design. It'll be like one silver color and just DualShock edition or whatever it says. This was a little bit before that, so the DualShock controller didn't exist yet. They do have all the accessories you can get on the end of this, and the cool thing is there's an analog controller for the PlayStation that I didn't know about. You can kind of see it there on all the accessories you can get. On this side over here, you can see that we have the standard things that come in the box. Pretty cool stuff, but let's just pop this open and see what's still inside. Fun fact, this is my box from my PlayStation, which I still have over there hooked up to that TV. Isn't that crazy? We got the authentic foam, authentic PlayStation 1 foam. Everyone laughed at me, but I believe there's a certain online popular video game retailer that sells retro games, who will not be named, that is currently selling authentic NES foam from their boxes. So you joke about it, but people pay good money for this, apparently. So there's a couple pieces of foam there, not much else going on. And then there's this cool thing here. Now I believe this is our setup manual and whatever pack of material they gave us. So I don't have the demo disc, unfortunately, and if I do, it's somewhere else right now. I'll have to pick one of those up. But here we go. Here's how to operate your Sony PlayStation 1. Here's your quick startup guide, and inside, just the basic diagrams, how to put the games in, how to hook everything up. But over here is what I find fascinating, is the advertisements and the pack-ins for either discounts, or in this case, PlayStation Underground. I don't think PlayStation Underground has been around for a long time. I don't know how long it lasted. Maybe to the PS3 era. I know it was in the PS2 era, but it was a relatively expensive demo disc service from PlayStation. But you got access to so many cool things. More specifically, interviews, previews, news segments, things like that. What I enjoyed about them, when I did my hands on them, was the Japanese games you could play. They'd put Japanese demos for Japanese games on these discs. And at that point, finding those things was kind of like, it wasn't impossible to get them, but it was much more difficult. The ease of getting games, import games in this modern era, blows my mind every time, because, I mean, you had to really work at it to get those things. I remember placing all kinds of shady orders on websites. I'm just rambling now. Let's keep going on here. So this was a advertisement. You got, according to them, you got 4 double CD issues a year, packed with over 5.2 gigs. So interactive game demos, interviews with game gurus, behind the scenes videos, inside scoop, sneak peek, secret codes, and 12 months access to a members only section of PlayStation. So quite a new idea back then to have a members only area of a website. Now it's pretty common to have those kind of benefits, but back then not nearly as much. But you know, this is the kind of stuff that you'd get with a brand new system, encouraging you to spend more money. Probably give them some of your personal information for marketing purposes. Oh man, my limited warranty. I wonder hold 90 days. I think it's expired. What was this? I think this is 90. It had to be 98, 99. I bought this. I want to say 98. So I guess we can pinpoint that down, right? Like we can go on Google. When did the DualShock controller come out?
Right.
And then you pretty much 6 months before that is when I bought this. I tell the story all the time on the other social media accounts, but I had a whole bunch of Nintendo stuff that I ended up taking and trading in to get this PlayStation, because I had to play Final Fantasy VII so bad that I ended up dumping off 2 Nintendo NES consoles, probably 30 to 40 games, light guns, everything, just everything. I don't know if I regret that now, but not the smartest idea. So we have I think this is a later model PS2. I'm not positive. I have to look. We have advertisements on the back for Sons of Liberty and Soul Reaver 2. So I think this is later, and Gran Turismo 3A spec, Game Day 2002. Not just crazy, I'm just reading off the back here. But the PS2 box really didn't change that much from launch until they started like revising it for the Slim Edition. And it is this iconic blue. I remember seeing pallets of these and news segments and people fighting over them. And I don't know, it's crazy times. I really don't see that anymore. Anyways, the only problem is in the back, you really can't tell what they are. This is really hard to see. Here are all the accessories available for it. That contrast is not so good. It's beautiful silver and blue, but everything is silver, so I really can't tell what they are. Either way, let's pop this open and see what we got. On the inside, we have a little PlayStation seal of authenticity. We have more authentic foam. That's going to be $25 minimum, at least. Here we go. Much more stuff to talk about here. Look at this. Got a whole bag of things. Oh, come on, foam, get back in there. How are these boxes? I swear, like, you feel so dumb trying to put these boxes back. I don't know why. Sony always does this. Sony's boxes, their cameras, everything are always got these weird flaps to them. I don't know why. Just for comparison's sake, PlayStation 2, one of the original box sizes, PlayStation 1, original box size, not much of a difference. Pretty reasonable, actually. So put this on the ground for right now. I'm gonna pop this open. There's a lot more going on here in this particular pack because the PlayStation 2 had a lot more going on. Back when DVDs were new, I believe the PlayStation 2 was a pretty reasonably priced DVD player, and a lot of people bought it probably for that reason specifically, so you could play those DVDs. And this here is a whole, and you can see how thick this thing is, it's a whole manual telling you how to use the DVD remote control just for the PlayStation 2. Not something you need anymore. Most of that stuff's pretty straightforward and easy. Very similar to PS1, you have this gigantic startup quick start guide. Some pages glossy for some reason, not sure why. Tells you in multiple languages how to set things up, how to do things, you know, what buttons to press, all that good stuff. Nothing crazy complicated here. Some cute little illustrations, but other than that, it's everything that most people know. But again, it's going to be thicker than the previous one because of that DVD functionality that the PS2 had baked in. Let's keep going here. We need some technical support. Problems with our PlayStation 2 computer entertainment system. Oh, don't take it there. You got to call Sony. And you got to call Sony in the US. Oh my gosh. I didn't know Sony had a hint line. That's crazy. Okay, so I just never read this before. So this is obviously to call if your PlayStation 2 is broken. But look at the bottom here. There's a PlayStation hint line. I'll read the numbers for you. It says within the US, it's 95 cents a minute for automated hint, whatever that means, and $1.40 a minute for live representative assistance. Then the weird thing is it's either $6.95 to $16.95 to get tips by mail, or $5 to $20 for a card refresh. I'm assuming that's some kind of calling card just for the tip line. Man, the internet has saved a lot of money for a lot of people over the years, I can tell you that. This is another thing that's new from that system to this one. You have this ESRB, I guess you can say a guide for parents. I'm sure some people who worked in retail, a lot of people worked in retail, had parents come in buying these games for kids that they shouldn't have, and I think this was included to say, hey, we tried to warn you parents, this is what those little symbols, those letters mean, you know, and you think stuff's well defined, and then you go into education and you realize that basic comprehension is lacking in a lot of people out there, that's for sure. Hey look, PlayStation Underground was still going at it. We still have a PlayStation Underground advertisement, much more funner this time, a lot more colorful and exciting, but same thing, PlayStation Underground demo disc services, and now they're also including a PlayStation 2 official PlayStation magazine demo disc, and another magazine that's defunct. I don't know if they even have a web presence anymore, but official PlayStation magazine. I subscribed to that for a long time because, again, the demo discs were so good, it allowed you to play a whole bunch of games without making that huge investment back then. And, you know, as an adult, I can budget, I can make sure that when there's a game I'd like to play or want, I can get it. But back then, when you had maybe one game every couple months, you know, or you got games at Christmas time only, you had to be picky about what you got, and those demo discs were a very cheap way to get a lot of access to a lot of games very, very quickly. It definitely informed a lot of the stuff I bought when I was younger, that's for sure. Without those demo discs, I would have been in a lot more, I guess say trouble. I would have bought a lot more of those horrible games because there were a lot of bad games to buy back then. Get this bad boy back in here. Don't want to ruin this authentic paperwork and this off. Nope, this goes first. There we go. Then the flaps, then this. Let's move on to the third generation here. We got very heavy for some...
Is it still in there?
I think there's a PlayStation in here. If there's not a PlayStation in here, someone put a brick in here. So anyways, before we get into this, which I believe is going to be a surprise to me as well, here's our PS3 box in comparison to our PS1 box, in comparison to our PS2 box. Again, nothing ridiculous, although I'm kind of hiding back here now. Let's move on. So this is a later model PS3. This is not a launch model. I do have a launch model PS3 that I have hooked up, but this box is for a later model PS3 when they started making it a lot more affordable. There were much more games available for it, and they were also focusing, it seems, a lot more on on the fact that it only does everything. I want to say at the time they had this very successful ad campaign with this actor, Kevin Butler. Maybe, I don't know, that name sounds familiar. Anyways, he played a series of characters at Sony that kind of just pushed the PlayStation. But remember, the PlayStation was, PS3 at least, started off as a mess of everything. It had a very high price point, and Sony was more concerned about it being a all-in-one multimedia center than it was a gaming console. And I'm trying to think of when I've heard of that in the past decade or so. When did a company have a gaming console that was really successful? Then the next generation, they decided to make it a all-in-one home entertainment machine, and then it didn't really do so good. I'm trying to think. Just seeing X's everywhere. Anyways, so this is what Sony's mistake was. It did come back and eventually became very popular, but only after a lot of cost-cutting measures, dropping all this backwards compatibility and everything. So you have some previews for games over here, but the main focus is that it is a Blu-ray player. And for those of us who were working at Best Buy at the time, this was one of the cheapest Blu-ray players you could have gotten at the time. Yeah, I wonder why this box is heavy.
There's like a whole PS3 that
There's a
you
whole
don't even
PS3
use.
inside.
That's how many
How do
you
I have
have.
an extra PS3? I don't. Oh, you know what? When I bought that backwards compatible, that launch model that I use over in that plasma over there,
Yeah.
I put this one into storage because we didn't need it anymore. That's right. And then I got this box off Mercari. It's been a while. Okay. So I was one of those idiots who bought authentic boxes, but I did buy this box because it did have all the inserts in it as well. So if you open this up, you'll see a brand new power cord. I believe they gave you HDMI cable and power cord, USB charger. Oh, even back then, even the PlayStation 3 generation, they still gave you the good old-fashioned Sony AV cables. So I have brand new cords for this. I have a system in there, and I have what I came for, which is, in this case, this package of all this good stuff here. So, oh my gosh, this is completely unopened still. I didn't know that. All this is unopened. So we're just going to take a quick preview of this. We won't open this. We'll just leave it because somehow it's going to be more valuable if I don't open it. Now, despite the fact that it's not open, there's a whole bunch of wear and tear on the inside of this. It's starting to discolor and everything. Again, you get your quick start guide. Much more simplified now. You know, PlayStation 3 comes out when HDMI is pretty popular. Flat screen TVs are becoming more popular. So really not hard to hook up an HDMI device for most people. It wasn't hard to hook up composite video either, but be amazed how many people couldn't do that. The user manuals are getting smaller and smaller, so you can see it here, not very thick, not very large. It is kind of cool that it's seen PlayStation 3. It's like the PS3's like loading. So again, keeping in mind that PS3 took a long time to get popular and took a long time to get cheap, all this stuff is geared towards Netflix and Hulu and entertainment and Blu-ray and 3D Blu-rays, and it's kind of crazy. But PS3 did have a lot of good games on it, still does. A lot of great hidden gems in that one, but here's what they're including. They're including Netflix stuff. And the fun part is this is so old, it still talks about getting DVDs by mail fast.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a little old. And here's how you know it's old. Watch as many TV episodes and movies as you want for only $8.99 a month. I think we looked at plans and it was up to like $24 a month.
Crazy now, yeah.
You know, the crazy thing is this is old. It doesn't feel like it's old, but the PlayStation 3 is old. And I've controversially said Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 are retro consoles, and no one wants to believe that, but they're pushing 20, I believe. I've talked about this with you before, especially with the motorcycle community. It's like you look at a bike from 2000, 2002, 2003, and those are 20 plus years old, but you say, oh, those are vintage. Oh, no, they're still brand new. Because everyone thinks that 20 years ago was 1980. 20 years ago was not 1980. 20 years ago was 2004 at this point, basically. Wow. That was first year of college for me. We got the PS2 box, the PS3 box, and the PS1 box. Nothing ridiculous yet. The PS3 was quite heavy. I've shipped enough of them at this point out via the postal service, and I can tell you, this costs a lot of money to ship a box like this. Gosh. All right, next up, PlayStation 4. I bought this, I don't know when, but I remember buying it for one reason only, and that was going to be for Metal Gear Solid, I want to say. Which one, though? What was on PS4? It has to be Phantom Pain, right? This was Sons of Liberty. PS4 I picked up. I'm not sure where I bought this from. I think it was actually an Amazon purchase. This is my PS4 box. PS4 is still in service over there on the other TVs. We do play it once in a while. I especially pull it out VT. PS4, simplified, much more games-oriented, but also has entertainment stuff going on with it. We also introduced things like PlayStation Plus and online services. The one thing I'm sad they took away are those little boxes on the other ones we had. Let's even PS3 had those. They give you a little blurb of the games you can buy for it. Those are gone, and I get what they're doing. They're putting iconic characters up here, but I kind of miss that other stuff. I think as the millennials keep designing things and keep injecting their millennial gray and not modernist, but minimalist design, you're going to see a lot of cool stuff going. This is disappointing. Well, the good news is I kept literally every bit of packing material, the bag, these authentic twist ties. I have everything in here like it's day one. I think this might be an HDMI cable in here too. That feels like the HDMI cable that came with it. That's funny. I don't know why I was doing that. Why am I keeping you around? All right, I don't want to ruin this box. Sell for hundreds of dollars one day. I think the disappointing thing is when people realize they've kept all these things, and they also then realize that everyone else has kept all these things, and then they realize it's not worth what they thought it was going to be worth, and that kind of the only market for this stuff, for video gaming stuff, especially complete in box, and, original in box stuff is probably right now. Here's all you get with the PS4. That's it, and it's not even opened. I didn't even open this. I didn't even bother opening it. It just has a little poster. Welcome to the world of PlayStation. PlayStation. You know what?
You can do it.
I'm
You
going to
can
do this.
open it.
I'm going to devalue this.
Wow.
Right now, this is easily $8,000. This bag right here. Easily $8,000. No low bars. I know what I got.
Wait, is it graded?
Yeah, I got to get this. I'll send this off and get this graded and put this in a slab. And you know, the funny thing is we're joking about it, but some out there is doing that right now. I didn't do a good job to open this. I think this is a poster. No, I was just another minimalist, all blue. Well, there's some illustrations there from Knack, which was not the greatest game, but basically, you know, here, quick start guide. Here's how it works. Here's how to use it. Here's the basics. We could have used that because if I'm not mistaken, when we bought this and started playing it, we couldn't find the eject button and we couldn't find the power button, and both of us have never felt stupider. By the way, this is the user manual now, so it is shrinking in a hurry. This is almost nothing. But again, it doesn't need to be a whole lot because I guess as time has gone on, these things have gotten more and more simple to use. So that's your PS4 experience. You know, I love my PS4. I actually really enjoy my time with it. I still do, but man, this design for the box and everything inside of it is just so sad. This is the saddest box I've seen yet. You know, I thought the PS2 box was lacking, but at least it was, I guess, going for something. I don't know. There is some color in the back of it, but you have your PS1, your PS2, your PS4 box. I'm going to cause a collapse here. And then we got our PS3 box, and thank God we bought mics because you won't be able to hear me right now. All right, so we got all these, and then you got to kind of put it for scale just to see the ridiculousness of it. I remember getting this thing, you know, I got lucky with the PS5. I remember being up at like 2 a.m. and Amazon hit me with an email and said, we restocked. I've never checked out so fast in my life, and it came about 2 days later. This is the PS5 box. Good Lord. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely gigantic. I mean, especially compared to the PS2.
Oh.
Just for comparison, here's how it started, you know, and here's where it's ending right now. Just a massive machine. I guess the PS5 is pretty big itself. Let's clear all this stuff down. Oh my gosh. So we keep going millennial gray. We keep going simple, modern design, minimalist design. We have no blurbs for games on the back of this thing. Instead, we just have lightning speed, breathtaking immersion. I mean, if you didn't know it was a PlayStation, it kind of just looks like a generic appliance for your kitchen, unfortunately. So unruly. I'm going to have to lift this up. I'll get back to you when I can get this out of here. So, outer sleeve. Now let's see what's left inside the box where the magic happens. Sony boxes are so annoying. They're like, here's how you use the box. Good luck, everyone. I don't think there's anything in here, honestly. I would be surprised if there's anything in here at all. As usual, I got all my authentic inserts here, so if I need to send it back, I can, I guess. I got this stuff that wrapped the PS5 in. What a pain in the butt. Let's see what's in here. If there's anything. Oh, okay, so we do have something. Again, we have more authentic PS5 twist ties, original twist ties. Those are $80 each right now. I can let both of them go for $75 if you're interested. One for the USB cable, charging cable. And then this is what you get. Oh, oh man, gold official Sony HDMI cable. Brand new PS5 HDMI cable. This is going to be at least $80,000, probably closer to $90,000. Probably, I think you guys should sell your houses just to buy that cable. It's authentic. This is what we get. We get a safety guide and we get a user manual. No fun stuff anymore. No PlayStation Underground, no demo discs, nothing really included. This is full color, but there's really not much there because it's all just black, white, and blue. There's once in a while you get a screenshot like this. So that's something. But in general, this is it. Now, the manual did get bigger from PS4. I'm guessing because PS5 does have a few more features and a lot of it's online, but this is it. It's kind of sad, actually, when you sit down and do it all at once and you go through, you know, the thrill and excitement of opening the console up 1998, somewhere in that range, and you open them up now. It's cool to have the console. It's cool to, you know, get it unboxed and get it moving and start playing it. But man, there's just less and less every year. And the crazy thing is, there's less and less every year, but the boxes are bigger and bigger. God, look at this thing. All right, well, from PlayStation 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 and 1, I hope you enjoyed going on this unboxing journey with me.